Good afternoon. That was my best impression of a millennial, hence the attire as well. This is actually a shout out to one of our viewers who asked me to dress down a little bit. As you know, I wear a suit and tie most days. So this is my best impression of a millennial. This is about millennials in the workplace in particular, but we're also going to do something on millennials as customers at another date. But this is a good start for a discussion around that. And I always base it on this hierarchy of acquisitions. This is my own theory. But I think if you look at human history, that human beings are naturally acquisitive, right? And capitalism works well, I think, because it's very aligned with human behavior, very acquisitive. We spent almost the entirety of human history trying to just fulfill our basic needs, in particular with food. But once we were able to achieve a certain caloric breakout, as Steven Pinker puts it in Enlightenment Now, then we were able to address comforts and wants and go beyond just basic needs and really develop into a modern society. But if you notice, both of these things are physical, right? It wasn't until probably the middle of the, probably mid-20s for Gen Xers that we started getting this information age, maybe even a little older than that. But when I was working for Arthur Andersen, we didn't even have cell phones, right? It was a beeper if you wanted to reach us. So information age kind of dawned really with cell phones and the beginning of the millennials. So they've lived in this non-physical world because all these things were met. So if you look at both information that we've now gone to experience, information, even social media is really about consuming and conveying information. But now that we're saturated with information, we have full access to everything everywhere all the time, now we're evolving to experience culture, right? Or an experience acquisition. How can I acquire more experiences? And that directly relates to millennials in the workplace. So I hear a lot of complaints about loyalty and entitlement about millennials in the workplace. The data shows that that's just not true. They do bounce from job to job, but actually would prefer not to. 65% would say they'd rather keep the job they have, but all these other things are not being satisfied to fulfill them in keeping that job. And as any other generation would show you, engaged employees perform better and stick around longer. So this is really about engagement of your millennials. Same thing with entitlement. It's really about a lack of clarity in conveying exactly what the job entails and what would be required to advance and what that time frame would look like. A clarity around those things prevent entitlement, and these next four things prevent a loyalty issue, right? Work-life balance is a big one. With modern technology, us physical acquirers of assets and things think that more productivity and more reach out and more task completion is a good thing. But if you're in the experience culture, experience acquisition business, then what you need is work to be separate from life. Life acquires a certain set of experiences, and work acquires a different set of experiences. When they blur, you end up getting not a rich work experience and not a rich life experience. So it's very important for millennials that when they are out of the work mindset, that they're not working and you're not emailing them and texting them expecting answers when they're not in work, right? Which is tough for millennials, or tough for baby boomers and Gen Xers, me included. Flexible workspace, a lot of people think this means collaborative space, but the truth is millennials would actually prefer some private space for when they need to do deep down thinking work and some collaborative space. This is one of the reasons why I think WeWork has been so successful, at least in concept. And as millennials rush into a workplace, you'll see more and more of that kind of space. But I think if you can build your offices with some flex space where you do have offices, don't get rid of the offices. Just create pockets of collaborative space as well. And then development. They really want personal development. Most of them say they would give up compensation if they felt like they were learning a new skill and being invested in by their employer, right? Again, it's about engagement. And if you look at our non-monetary compensation video, a lot of that goes to this point. You can actually show development with one-on-ones with managers, and this is one of the problems, is CEOs will set vision around purpose, the why of what we do, and talk about how they're going to develop you, but then the managers don't do it because they're baby boomers and Gen Xers. So big among millennials list is the why, right? Lots of their experiences about why they're doing things. Now the why is both about their function in the job, their job in the workplace, and their workplace in society at large. So you need to be clear about what the purpose is and set that vision as a CEO. But then you need to drive that vision and the development down through the management teams so they actually reach the millennials. If there's a disconnect between the sincerity of the vision and the action on the ground, they will be very dissatisfied in their workplace. All these things will get you a much better millennial-friendly workplace for a population that is going to take over the workplace. 75% millennials by 2025. I hope that's helpful.